Hello, it's Les Conard with the Washout Watchdog. It's February 5th, 2021, and the world of concrete's been canceled. So we decided to make our own booth and bring a presentation to you. So if you'd sit down and relax for a minute, we'll go through all that's new with the Washout Watchdog. Hello, I'd like to go through the basic system, the standard Washout Watchdog system. It's not really the standard, but it's one that came from the beginning. We started in 2003 with a different tank, a different bucket, and over the years we've improved that greatly. And I want to go through that today with some of the stuff that we've got. But what you see here is what comes for our basic standard system. You need a bucket that hangs from the chute and collects the water and the sand when you wash it down. You need a rack that's attached to the truck that the bucket goes in. And then you need a tank to transfer the water from the bucket to the tank. And as long as the bucket's higher than the tank, gravity works. And so we have a hose that connects between the bucket and the tank. And you wouldn't believe this, but sometimes people connect it to the bottom, but it actually connects to the top, and the water flows in through the top. We empty it back at the plant with the valve. But this hose connects here to the valve on the bucket, and when you're ready to drain it, you lift your chute up, open your valve. So most of you are familiar how it works. But I kind of wanted to go through just the basics of the standard system and what's changed. One of the greatest things that's changed is I am now in charge of all of my production. So I make my own tanks and buckets. I bought my own rotational molding machine, and that allows me to control the quantity of it and the quality of it. So I was finding that a lot of my buckets were not as thick as I'd like. So now we've got a really good quality control on it. The bucket is always the same now. I like that. My tanks are also made by me. You notice that on this side I have some inserts on this, so we'll go through that a little bit later. But this is the standard system, and this mounts to the rail of the truck. And I have a number of different tanks and mountings, but this is 3/16 steel. You simply drill holes in it and mount it to the truck. This happens to be what we call a bumper rack, and very, very common if you've got pushers and no room. A lot of our fleets are using these. So it goes on the bumper between the fender and the DOT bar, and the bucket just slides right in there. One of the improvements that we've made on our bucket rack, and what I like a lot, is these handles now move back and forth so that when it's in, it's not coming out. But when you move the handle back, the driver can simply lay the bucket in the rack, empty it out, and wash it out without having to pick it up and dump it. And so if you backed up to your pit, that makes it very simple. So it just sits in here. We have a strap to make sure it's secure, but whether or not we're using our pull pin or a strap, this fold back rack has made a huge difference on that. Going back to the bucket, one of the greatest improvements we've made in the last 2 years is the handles were good. We were making them out of regular steel and then plating them, and we decided to go with stainless steel so we wouldn't have to plate, and the stainless steel is much stronger. So it's not going to bend, it's not going to rust, it's just going to last a lot longer. Not that we were having a problem with the hook, we decided to improve that. As you know, there's a stainless steel screen on the inside that keeps the aggregate inside and allows the water to flow through. So this is a standard bucket. I think we have 6 or 7 different buckets now that we've developed over the last few years. And so we're going to go through just the buckets and how they could work for you. But this is our standard bucket that works for most of the trucks. This is our standard tank. It holds up to 30 gallons of water. Very easy. We've got now a cable instead of a lanyard made out of rubber. And so our lids are staying on much better. All of our tanks are very simple to maintain, and we have a strap that has 4 bolts. So if you ever have to take it off, it's very simple to take off. It's just 4 bolts, comes off. If you have concrete built up on the inside, you simply turn it over and pound it, it comes right out. Same thing with the bucket. If they forget and leave it over the weekend, this screen detaches, you can take it out. You're not going to lose the bucket because it's full of concrete. This plastic concrete doesn't stick to it, and that's one of the big things. It's lightweight. We have handles to make it convenient and there's a handle on the bottom basically so the driver can pick it up that way as well, carry it very close to the body when they're putting it in and out of the rack, and we always recommend that this is a nice height so that it's easy for the driver to get in. So that's our standard system. We wanted to make sure that everything was easy to repair, like a 5-minute repair and low dollars instead of expensive. So the only moving parts we really have are these, and that's stainless steel, so we're not having a lot of problems with that. We have a gasket inside that can be replaced. This valve is the greatest moving part on our unit for either side, and you can buy a handle, a stem, or a ball and repair it. We've put greasers that some people like and some people don't use on the valves, so they're lasting a lot longer than we started with, right? And these are Banjo products, so they're very, very good. The last thing I want to show you that we've improved, and on the inlet we have 2 different kinds, so it depends on what kind of configuration you have, and I have over 100 configurations with all the tanks and buckets, so we can fit your truck. This is the inlet here, or you can put a 90 on top. Obviously you get more volume if you go on top. And this one is a sideways tank, so you would need that. I'm going to turn the tank to show you our improvement here, which I'm very proud of. And again, almost all of the improvements that I have, like this hose, is see-through. We started with an opaque hose, and now we've got a see-through pool hose. This new stainless steel handle on our yellow plug, this is a moving part, and so there was an exposed thread that was getting concrete in it, and by covering it now with this, and you can keep these if you ever have to replace it, it will keep that thread clean. And so that's our big improvement. Again, our standard Washout Watchdog system comes with a tank and something to mount it with, comes with a bucket bracket and a bucket, and that's our full system. Hello, Les Conard with the Washout Watchdog, and I'm here with all the variations of buckets that we have, so we can go through that. But we'll start with our standard bucket. Our standard bucket fits on most mixers, straight ahead. This is what most people have been using since 2003. But we also developed something, what we call the Bulldog bucket, or a standalone washout system was the idea. And this lid actually snaps in, and this becomes a tank when that happens. But this has been being used quite a bit up in Canada, where they have something that's called a paver, or any wide chute where you have to turn it because the hooks are no longer going straight in, but you have pegs. This is great for that. You can see it's a few inches wider, still fits in the same rack. So it doesn't matter what rack system you have, either one of these buckets will work. This was developed for conveyor belts, and you have your long nose. I wanted the nose to be able to go in here, hold a large volume of water, and be able to clean everything out here so we don't spill anything on the ground. And you know, that's one of the most important things. When I developed my system, I wanted to make sure that we not only captured the water, but we secured it. And that's just really important if you have an inspector standing right behind you and making sure that nothing hits the ground. That's why these buckets have a backstop, and they fit with the chute inside, and everything's captured and contained. Again, we have stainless steel hooks, so we've upgraded from a hook. You can see here a little bit of different sheen. These are plated hooks, but they would rust. Stainless steel doesn't rust, and it's stronger. And it's a little bit costlier, but you're worth it. This is a handle. Somebody asked me to make a handle that can go either direction. So I have that. If you need a handle that doesn't stay in the same position, we can make that for you. Again, stainless steel, goes either way. These are volumetric buckets here. This is my first one. The one below it holds quite a bit more water. And that's one of the challenges with volumetric, is you've got your auger and you don't want to have to lift your chute 3 or 4 times to clean it out. And so we've got 20 of these on Bauman up in San Francisco right now, and we'll get a video of that, but they're outstanding. They're working great. About twice as much volume as that. And as you know, with a volumetric truck, you've got to be low. I apologize that it's so dirty. It's the only one we had left after we sent out the systems for them. This is what we call a half bucket, and this half bucket is meant just to catch what's on the chute and wash it out. So you don't do a full rinse. You see there's no valve, so you're absolutely going to have your hose hooked up to your Bulldog bucket, and this Bulldog bucket would have a fitting on it, and then this would fit inside and lock down. This one actually goes up here. So I've made two different kinds of Bulldog buckets, and this would go inside and snap into place, and then it becomes a tank as well. This is brand new. This is the new EnviroGuard bucket. So if you don't know, we're the authorized distributor for EnviroGuard, and I've developed a bucket for them to replace their aluminum bucket. And the reason for that is it's much lighter. That was an issue with their bucket. And we've been making our plastic buckets for so long, we know that they work really well. So this is our new EnviroGuard bucket, and we'll have a feature just on that, but very proud of it. It's very nice. It hooks up. This is a smaller dimension than our normal size. This hooks up to the original system, pumps it right back into the truck. And so those are all the variances we have on buckets. And so if you have a different need, we can match that or meet that need. Hello, Les Conard with the Washout Watchdog, and today I'm talking about the EnviroGuard bucket. Many of you don't know, but we've been selling EnviroGuard systems right alongside the Washout Watchdog systems for the last couple of years. And we've just developed a plastic bucket that matches everything so it fits right into their rack. The same size nozzle as the bottom of this. And the differences are, plastic is about half the weight. And so that's one of the reasons is that's been a concern for everybody. How heavy is a bucket to pick up? The second reason is that concrete doesn't stick to plastic, so it's easier to keep this clean on that. This EnviroGuard bucket has been out in the field since early 2000s, and it's been doing a great job. And you can still buy that, or you now have a plastic bucket option. What I wanted to talk about a little bit on this new bucket is you have handles here. You also have a handle on the back and another handle that goes inside the back here when you're putting it in the rack or taking it out. But when you're picking it up off the chute, it's nice here. There's also a handle on the bottom so that you can firmly grab this. So we have handles everywhere. On the inside, as you know, you can either have the nozzle on the side, driver's side, passenger side, or dead center on this bucket. And the same as here. I simply put a fitting in wherever I want it. And on the inside, I've got little dams there on the bottom to keep the screen secure and to keep the concrete back away from pushing in through the screen. But if you needed to take it off, it's simply a wing nut, and you just unscrew it and you can take your screen off. But if you put it back in, because of the dam there, it's not going to come off, so it's very nice. Again, we wanted to create something with a little bit of a different handle system. So their handle's on the back. We have a handle on the back, but it's a little bit easier for the driver to get his hands in or here. So again, if you'd like to try one of our plastic buckets, give us a call, and we send out a free trial for you to try it. If you like it, you buy it, right? And then you order more. So if you'd like to try a new plastic bucket, give us a call, and we'll get you set up for that. Les Conard with the Washout Watchdog, and today I wanted to talk about maintaining the waste concrete in your yard. So this is something that I made for job sites. It holds 3.5 yards of washout, and when they get done, they pump the water off and flip it over and start all over again. So it's basically a above ground washout pit. And we've developed this one for back at the yard to manage the concrete waste inside the pit. So rather than putting all the waste in the pit and then have to dig it out, this captures the majority of the waste that we can make dry really quick compared to taking it out of the pit, and I'm going to explain why. So because of the size of this, you're going to wash your trucks out. All the trucks would wash out here, and this would be in front of your pit. The cement water, some's going to get trapped in here, but the majority of cement water or slurry water will roll off into pit 1. What you're going to have here is mostly sand and gravel that was on the inside of the truck, plus some cement trapped in there, and the cement water coming off the top. You have the water go into the pit. They take the water from the pit, put it back in the truck, and over until this is full. So now I put a couple of drain points. There's actually 3 of them right here, so that the water would not overflow over the top. It'll come out and just fall right into the pit. When this is full of material, when it gets up to those holes, then what you're going to do is go dump this. But because of the weight and the size of it, it's pushing all the water out. When you have your material in a pit, even if you were able to pump the water off of it, underneath is a bunch of trapped water. There's a lot less trapped water here because of the pressure, and so when we pump that off, when you dump this out, it's going to dry much quicker. As a matter of fact, if you'd want to dump it right into a roll-off and then roll it off, it would be dry enough to do that, but you can't do that with a pit. And so if you're struggling with drying the material now that they've changed the rules, we used to be able to just put that material on the ground and the water would soak through. But now they have you put that material on concrete and it just doesn't dry. And it's labor intensive of just over and over trying to flip it and get to the inside where the water is before you can haul it off. This is going to enable you to do that. So instead of putting all of the material in the pit, put it in here. When it's full, the loader operator simply picks it up, dumps it out. This turns over, bring it back, put it down, and start that whole process again. Now, if you have a portable plant and you want to use this for your pit system, you might use 1 or 2, but the trucks can get their water out of this, put it in the drum, and wash out in here. It'll maintain all the material. I would have another overflow so that the water could overflow into another one if they get a lot of material and you haven't dumped it. But this Alpha Dog holds 700 gallons of water, 3.5 yards, and you never need to oil it. Your guys won't be in trouble if they forget to maintain it or oil it. If you turn it upside down, everything comes out. So again, this is the new Alpha Dog. Thank you for your attention. Hello, Les Conard with the Washout Watchdog. And one of the things that I've become very interested in the last few years is what do we do with our concrete waste? As you know, if you come back with concrete in your truck, depending how old it is and what kind it is, you may be able to load right on top and take it back out and use it as concrete. That's the best thing we can do. The second thing is maybe we can make something in a mold. And so this is very familiar to everybody. It's a block form. And so we're right now making a block form that's made out of plastic that won't require any oil. So that's good. We won't have to have oil on our property that could be mixed with water and run off. So this is going to have a steel frame. This has a steel frame that keeps it together that is simply unbolted, and then we pull it out. So we're right now working on different sizes of concrete block forms so that we can buy these. The nice part about them, so they're lightweight and they come apart quickly and they last a long time. What we have found with the porta pits is that once we use it, the concrete develops a little film and it doesn't wear away at all. It just allows the concrete to slip out over and over and over. With our block form, we are very happy with how that slipped out. So this is a block form. This is something called shoreline protection. You've seen them if you've traveled the world. They're a lot more popular in other places. But we've patented these processes of making molds out of plastic that don't require oil. And so this makes a jack. It just lifts off, and the shape of the concrete is this, right? And so what you do with your waste concrete is put it in here, and this is going to be another product to sell. We have a couple other things that we're going to make for waste concrete. So if you have good concrete that comes back, then you can put it into a form and sell that concrete. So you're making money on your concrete price. So I have joined with Versamix, and we've invented these together, and we'll be marketing these this year, 2021, along with the other products and ideas that we have. But this is a good place for waste concrete. And then the third thing you can do is you can windrow and crush it. And the fourth thing you can do is you can water it down and put it in that big Alpha Dog and get that material back that way. So there's a number of strategies that we're working on right now to make it easier for the concrete industry to handle their waste. And one of the two most important things, does it last, and do you not have to fix it? And those are very important aspects when we develop anything. So that's the primary thing, something that lasts a long time. This will last longer than steel. And it doesn't seem like that, but as you know, concrete sticks to steel. When you wash it with a hammer, you then change that and change it over and over until you have to get a new mold. These molds will last you much, much longer.